Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. So, jumping back on for another energy reading. Sitting here in my car. Yeah, just in the car park. I don't mind doing it. I relax here, so anyway. All right, so yeah, I thought I'd draw out some cards for this week to see what's in store for us. And I had to draw more than one card out this week. So, could be a bit of a challenging week. I wish I could just come on and just say, hey, we're going to have a great week, guys. But coming up into early October, sort of mid-October-ish, probably going to be a bit challenging, I would say. So, and the cards I drew out pretty much reflect that. I'll go into some of my experiences over the weekend as well. So, yeah, very can be a little bit of a rough time for relationships, and a little bit of a minefield for those of us who have a what I call a synchronous incarnation, what a lot of people term as a twin flame. Very, very tricky time at the moment. So I've stepped on a landmine or two this weekend. But anyway, that's all right. So yeah, look, this week, what I've actually felt was we're ramping up to something bigger in October. In one of my previous videos, I pretty much described what changing timelines and what portals were. I feel as though there is a major portal of some sort opening up. For anyone who knows a bit about astrology, let me know if there's a particular time coming up in, sort of coming up to mid-October. I feel like there's, we're all being built up to it. So there's a lot of energy changes. We're probably experiencing some up and downs at the moment. And that leads us to the first card that I drew out, which was the Five of Wands. So with that one, what I have actually felt that it is in relation to some struggles coming up. I did actually feel like it was more in terms of relationship struggles, but it can be some other struggles coming up as well. What I feel it's doing, though, is building us up in strength to prepare for this time coming up. So it's a time of facing issues instead of avoiding them. All right, so just facing them head on. Easier said than done, and I'd love to be able to take my own advice on that, to be honest with you, but hey, there you go. Let's see if I can do that. With this card, you'll notice that, just see, none of them are actually hitting each other. So I did notice that there. I really feel like it's just a time of emotion, building up emotional strength. So yeah, just in those times where we have these challenges coming up, it's important to remember meditation, or if you don't meditate, just to control your breathing at those times where you really want to lose control. And just thinking about your actions. Okay, that's it. It's I feel as though it's thinking about your actions, not necessarily striking out. I feel as though that's a direct message to some of you there. Something happens, don't necessarily strike out, don't necessarily go on the attack. Think first. Think, and then about what you're going to do as far as your reaction goes. Think about it again, and then move on from there. All right, which leads us to the other two cards that I've pulled out as well. So we are being built up. So I feel as though there's effectively two different ways we can go. What happens with timelines is we shift all the time. I believe it's a theory in quantum physics as well, where we do shift timelines. So whatever possibilities happen, whatever possibilities there are, whatever choices we have, there are different timelines where we actually choose all different possibilities. So I feel as though we have a conscious decision to work out which timeline we're going into. All right, so that's where the Four of Wands comes in. So that's more of a harmonious time. Not necessarily after next week. That's after this whole process, which I feel could I even feel I don't think it's going to finish in October. I think it's going to be next year, to be honest, sometime early next year. And even then, these cycles keep happening as well. So with the Four of Wands, if we keep ourselves on our guard, we will actually move into a timeline which is probably a little bit smoother. Things probably go a little bit more our way. And again, that's more in regards to thinking about our actions, but possibly also raising our vibration as well. That's where at those moments where you're thinking, not where you're thinking, sorry, I take that back. It's at those moments where you're breathing, you're doing your controlled breathing and you're being present in the moment. That's where I feel that your vibration raises. And when your vibration raises, the more emotional balance you're in and the better your thoughts are and the better your choices are. My English wasn't the best there, but I am feeling as though, if we can get ourselves under control, we'll be in a much better spot. The other thing I felt as though as well, getting a slightly different reading to what I thought I had with this one. So that's the Tower card. So most people's heart jumps when they see it. Mine did. It's like, oh my God. But no, when I'm looking at the Tower card, I can see two different things there. So the other one, of course, is if we don't react well, if we don't keep ourselves in the present moment, if we let life control us, we will end up in a stage where we do have to deal with a lot more. And especially if we're dealing a lot more with, in terms of the ego, that's where the Tower comes into it. That's where things start crashing down. And that's where we effectively need to rebuild ourselves. Okay. So we've got a couple of different ways we can rebuild ourselves. We can either do it the easy way or the hard way. So if we can, like I said, live in the present moment, let go of things. I feel as though there'll be people watching this who may need to let go of things as well, myself included. The process will be a lot easier, but if not, that's where the brutal Tower comes into it. You can either have the Tower dismantled brick by brick, nicely and easily, and rebuilt nice and easily, or you can have the whole thing crashing down in one big fell swoop. So that's what I'm feeling for this week. So keep in mind to stay in the present moment where you can. All right. And like I said, I've said it a number of times already, that's the controlled breathing and just thinking about the present. Don't necessarily put yourself into the future and what you're going to think about in the future. There are times, of course, we have to do it. But there are also times when we do it more than is necessary. Okay? Which leads to what I've personally been going through over the weekend. And I don't mind sort of mentioning it. Probably won't go into too many details because I don't want to look, to be honest, I don't want to identify who it is I'm talking about. So not that they're going to be watching anyway. So yeah, this weekend started off on Friday for us with the grand final weekend. So I felt like I did what I had to do. So I sent a very brief message to my synchronous incarnation. So that's a twin flame. So a twin flame is, and you'll know when you meet them, they're basically somebody who the best way I can describe it is has access to the same soul that you do. It's not the soul split in half or anything like that. What we each are is fragments, and we access our soul. And our soul has different incarnations everywhere. Sometimes those incarnations happen to be in the same time frame. And sometimes you actually meet them. And to be honest with you, I don't recommend meeting them because things start off really well, but it ends up being extremely emotionally painful. And the whole purpose around it is not so you can be with your person in a true loving relationship, but it's actually to move on to what's called unity consciousness, what some people call enlightenment. Okay, that's actually the sole purpose of it. Once you've reached enlightenment, which is that real state of oneness, and I'm starting to get glimpses of it now. Once you reach that, then yeah, that's the whole purpose of actually meeting your twin flame. They accelerate you on that journey by putting you through a whole heap of stuff. So yeah, I've sent that message, and of course I've got the whole ghosting thing, so no message back, which yeah, it's very painful. I could go through some of the symptoms of twin flames, but it's not pleasant. Very, very painful emotionally, and yeah, definitely don't recommend it. So my feeling is I need to send another message, whether it's tonight or tomorrow. And then no matter what happens with that message, let her go. It's the only way through it. For those of you who may have actually met your twin flame, if you're currently not with them, I don't like to use the term separation because it's not accurate. You're never actually separate from your twin flame. They are you. I've often said the best way of describing the relationship with your twin flame is to merely say, I am. That puts you into the present moment, and it literally accurately describes the whole system of not just yourself and your synchronous incarnation, as I really want to call them, but also all the other incarnations that you've had as well, and your soul as a whole combined thing, or as a whole combined energy, really. So yeah, bit of a tough time. I feel as though I'm on my way there, but I do need to send that message. Nothing nasty. It's actually, I think it's a rather sweet one. But anyway, but I do know that that's it from there. Ball's in her court from there. And I trust that my soul's got this. So if my soul's got this, then she's fine, I'm fine, and that's great. So anyway, I don't mind sharing that little bit. It's probably going a bit into the personal, but sometimes we get these feelings like we need to do it. I had the message ready to send this morning, and I felt like Spirit saying, no, don't send it yet. Okay. It took a lot of effort not to, but yeah, so I drew out a card. I'm not going to share the card for myself, but it talks a lot about balance. So there's a huge balancing going out with my soul, and I feel it might be relevant to anyone else who might be in a twin flame system, so I'd prefer to call it. So anyway, I'll leave that all with you, and I hope you'll have a fantastic day. It's sunny here in Melbourne, so yep, I'll enjoy it where I can. And you all stay safe. Take notice of what I've said as well, especially if you get yourself into any situations where you might want to lash out. Don't do it. Don't lash out. Think about it first. Breathe, meditate on it, meditate on the response, and then from there, go with an intuitive response, not an instinctive one. All right. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and I'll see you later.